Hey everyone, it's Tom Panos. I'm sorry to be sort of in your face all the time, but I'm just finding that as I get information, that it's my duty to give it to you. And I think if it's useful information that's going to help you, that I'm not over posting. In fact, that's one of the rules of posting. If you've got nothing good to say, don't post. If you think you've got something to say, don't worry about over posting. And I do have something good to say, which I think is going to be useful, particularly for those agents that are trying to work out what to do with properties that they've got actually scheduled for auction in the coming weeks. My advice to you is that I've just looked at some auction numbers that have come through, and the auction results weren't as good as what you look on the surface. There was a significantly higher withdrawal rate in this week's clearance rates. So there were properties that were withdrawn. It was close to 10%, which is bringing back the reforecasted rate in Sydney and Melbourne anyway, somewhere in the 60s, right? Hey, Andrew. So here's my view. If you currently have properties up for auction and you've got one buyer or two buyers, I think it would be a good idea to encourage your owner to potentially look at actually getting a deal done prior to auction. Of course, if you've got one of those properties that's going to have 5 or 7 or 10 or 15, the occasional property that's got 15 bidders, right? What you do is you run that to auction. But in the current climate where we have uncertainty on lots of factors, including on what the government, hey Angie, including on what the government will say you can and can't do, and including the fact that there is a little bit of fear into the market. If you've got a property and you've got a vendor that wants to sell and you have a buyer that wants to buy the property, why wouldn't you actually try and put that deal together now? And one of the ways that you can do it is you can actually, contact the buyers. And I'll just give you an example of the sort of dialogue you want to use. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, there's a possibility that we are going to be doing business on this property prior to auction. At the moment, I've got a buyer that I'm speaking to. What I want to ask you is, at what level of interest would you like to be excluded at? And that is going to sort of tell you basically where they're at. And what you want to try and do is bring it to a head and get the deal done, because I actually think that there is going to be properties that are going to be withdrawn prior to auction as these next few weeks go on. It was only around 10% last Saturday, but I expect that to actually be a little bit more as time goes by. So, and how do you get a vendor to accept that? It's really simple. You say to a vendor, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, right now we do have buyers, right? We've got people that sold properties in January and February and they need to buy a house. The issue is, once we've exhausted these people and they get actually absorbed into the marketplace and they no longer are looking to buy, I don't know whether we're going to have a new phase of buyers in March and April. So what I'd like to do is have a chat to you about seeing what we can do to get this deal done. And I think most vendors are so educated these days, they understand what's going on. They're going to probably be on the same page. Anyway, guys and girls, I'm letting you know that tomorrow I've got Matt LaHood that is going to be doing a webinar with me live, how to survive and stay relevant during the coronavirus period. Great speaker, got incredible feedback in my real estate gym. On Wednesday, I've got Matt Steinwade, and I'm going to cover how to think like Matt when things are falling apart. We're doing that. On Friday, I've got Rick Rushton, and we're going to be covering secret successful scripts. And that's going to be on Friday, and I will be announcing a speaker that we're going to be doing on Thursday any moment. This, by the way, is all for real estate gym members only. It will be actually sent out to gym members, and they can actually tune in live on Zoom and watch it. Guys and girls, stay healthy.